All right, all right, all right, all right. Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. I appreciate everyone who's going to check this out. I realize that Saturdays is a little difficult, a little different day, but I want to get this in. So, hello to everyone. Please make sure that you say hello so I can acknowledge you and your presence. So let's see. We're going to continue with the pink pill today, and then Auntie Anita is going to join us. We're going to have a discussion. She had some things that she wanted to talk about, so we're going to talk about them. So today we're just going to continue off with the pink pill, and that's it. So I was actually having I'm a little bit late because my daughter's cat that she abandoned at my house here, has decided to choose violence today, and she was feeling feisty and wanted to wrestle and all kind of other stuff, So, yeah. Hello to you, Gail. Hello to Linda. Hello to Blue Sapphire. Hello, HJ. Good morning, good afternoon, Dr. L, Auntie Anita in chat. Yes, Auntie Anita will be joining us soon. I would imagine. So we're not going to belabor the time here. We're not going to belabor the time. Again, I wanted to get through the issues that we're having the other day. So I called my company today and make sure the issues weren't me and all this kind of stuff. So I don't know what was going on the other day. So we're going to play for the ladies out there. This is how you know that you have made it, that you're successful, and that you have achieved the type of man that you're looking for. So we're going to play a couple of videos here back to back here. So you can see what type of man you should be looking for and how you know that you made it here.
And they called it puppy love. And they called it puppy love.
What? That's not the type of guy that you want. That's not the type of guy that you want. There. I mean, it's not. That's not it. Hold on.
We demand to be.
Hold on. This is a different one. So yeah, that's not the type of guy you want. I mean, I just he took his shoes off so he didn't dirty her back. I mean, come on now. Come on now. All right, this one's about equal rights here. This one's about equal rights. So we'll keep this one going here. Equal rights, right? Equal rights. Y'all gonna hate me for this one, I know that, but
Enough is enough. As women, we demand to be treated equal to men. Equal rights! Equal rights! Equal rights! What was that? What was that?
Ladies, a foreign country has just attacked the U.S. We're drafting all you women to the front lines.
Wait, what? Why?
This is what you all wanted, right? Equality to men?
That's not what we meant.
You can't have it both ways. You want to be equal to men. It's across the board. Which means, let's go, private! On the bus now! Now! Move it! Move it! Move it! Don't worry, girls. We'll take care of the kids while you're gone, and we'll write you every day. Watch out for bullets. Keep your head down. All right, guys. Wine and bachelor at my house tonight. Yeah! Guys, we should have done this feminist stuff a long time ago.
Enough is enough. As women, we demand to be treated equal to men. Equal rights! Equal rights! Equal rights! What was that? What was that?
Ladies, a foreign country has just attacked the U.S. We're drafting all you women to the front lines.
Wait, what? Why?
This is what you all wanted, right? Equality to men?
That's not what we meant.
You can't have it both ways. You want to be equal to men. It's across the board. Which means, let's go, private! On the bus now! Now! Move it! Move it! Move it! Don't worry, girls. We'll take care of the kids while you're gone, and we'll write you every day. Watch out for bullets. Keep your head down. All right.
now this brother's got a tanned baby here. He might want to check his wife there. I'm just saying. He might be adopted. I'm just saying. Just saying.
Guys, wine and bachelor at my house tonight. Yeah! Guys, we should have done this feminist stuff a long time ago.
He had a tan baby too. All right. So, all right. So, Oh man. Oh man. Hello, Lori Roberts. Hello. We're starting off good here. All right. All right. So I'm going to take that down and move that. All right. We're going to continue on with a conversation here about about the pink pill. And as we discussed a little bit, as we could get through a little bit of the other day, was the pink pill. And it's the problem having a white beard here. All the hair gets all over the place here. So as we talked about the pink pill the other day, right? It's mostly, what I can tell, um, a collection of ladies kind of responding to the red pill space, kind of, sort of, and kind of going their own way, figuring out themselves, focusing on themselves, and all that kind of stuff. So we're going to continue with this dive here into this lady here who did a 2-hour stream or video about this. Let me take this banner off here. A very deep dive into the pink pill community and fem cells. So we're going to check this out, and we're going to kind of skip ahead into this, and hopefully this plays correctly. And let's get to some urban
having that. So I hope you've all seen the definition, at least the definitions that are given on, not exactly nice definitions. There's quite a few, but in terms of getting the gist of what fem cells or female incels are about, these definitions from the Urban Dictionary seem to be the most upvoted, or the one.
Female incels. An incel is someone who, particularly for men, the definition would be a man who is involuntarily celibate. So is there such a thing as a woman being involuntarily celibate? That means for men that they want to be with women, in particular, they want to be sexual celibate. They don't want to be celibate, and they can't, because they can't find anybody who would reciprocate. Is that I can't believe that that's the same thing for women. I can't believe that. Now, are there some women, I mean, not to be negative and pejorative and all that, but there really has to be something wrong with you if a man won't sleep with you. I just don't see that. A woman, this says, a woman who hates both men and women while complaining about dumb-ish. That's what femcel says. A female involuntarily celibate, a subculture that seems to be spawned from the incel culture. Although similar, they have complete abhorrence for each other. A femcel would rather blame men for their lack of relationships in deserted sex life rather than realizing the cause of this, or is their lackluster self-loathing personality. They have no self-awareness and can't fathom the idea of a male liking them for more than looks, when in reality, this is the reason people stay away from them. So I guess this is kind of a pejorative. I don't know where she got these definitions from. I guess this is kind of pejorative. They would rather blame men for their lack of relationships and deserted sex life than realizing they are the cause of their lackluster loathing. Right. So they can't get relationships. So that's why I don't like the term celibate, even for men, or involuntarily celibate. I don't like that title or type. I don't like that label terminology, because you're not really celibate, because there's other ways to really get it. I mean, you can obviously pay for it. So, but what really that's why I like the term probably inrel a little bit more. They're involuntarily not in relationships. You can't get a relationship because you're awkward, because you're whatever's going on with you, for men. And it seems as though this pejorative type of definition, I'm assuming she got from Urban Dictionary, is saying that these women can't get relationships because they fail to realize that it's their personality that's keeping them away. And I would assume that that's more than likely has a lot of truth to it. Good afternoon, Miles. Good afternoon, Jayla. Trigger phrase, supposed to get men to chase them. Yeah, probably. All right, we'll continue on with her, what she's saying here.
the ones which garnered the most attention. So a femcel is basically the equivalent of a male incel, somebody who is involuntarily celibate. But of course, this means very different things, which we will be getting into. And yes, I do. I'm going to be like just talking this whole video. I've really got into this, so I do apologize. I'll just quickly read the super chat. Thank you so much for your super chat, Vitamin Sage. I recently subscribed. As a Black woman, I appreciate your vulnerability and perspective. I just want you to know you're not alone in so many respects. Thank you so much. That is so very kind of you. Thank you. And thank you so much for subscribing and for being here and for supporting the channel like this. It is most kind. I very, very much appreciate it. Thank you so, so much. I also saw another comment about Zach F says, I admit the first thing I thought of when mentioning femcells is female dating strategies. I'm probably quite off on that. Oh, I'm afraid.
All right, we're going to fast forward here.
Empower your students to be more authentic, impactful writers with
We're going to fast forward to Pink Pill Feminism Reddit post prior to ban. So we'll check this out and see what she says about that.
I could only find references to Pink Pill Feminists on Reddit and on Facebook. Tumblr, I don't really get Tumblr, if I'm going to be perfectly honest. It seems quite I just don't get Tumblr, so I didn't even really explore Tumblr terribly. But in terms of finding sort of remnants of their existence on Reddit, they were banned in January of 2021 with no explanation exactly from Reddit. Reddit didn't say why they banned them or why they suddenly banned them now. But they then established a website called pinkpill.co, which I have been trying to get onto, but it has for I don't know how long, and I don't know for how long it is going to be in a state of we are coming back soon, and there's no information, nothing on it. You can't see anything or find anything. But according to some articles that I read, it's got about 600 members. You have to, you need a membership in order to actually be a part of the forum and the website and to actually post.
All right, we're going to fast forward again
here. These
here.
femcells who I'm talking about differ to the Pink Pill femcells, who are more so incels or femcells because they think men are trash and they hate men, and they subscribe to very radical feminism, whereas these femcells.
All right, so let's read through some of this. Femcells: physically unattractive, loneliness, black pilled versus pink pilled, modern anti relations movement, reclaiming celibacy, TikTok femcells, you are not beautiful as you are. Reminder to femcells: people who lie to you and tell you you look fine the way you are not on your side. They benefit from you remaining ugly and are not fixing your looks. Pretty privilege is lie down and rot. Incels: physically unattractive, black pill versus red pill, MGTOW. So she's comparing femcells and incels. So incels, she's saying, are physically unattractive, black pilled and red pilled, and the men are going their own way. I think that there's some truth to the incel thing, because sometimes guys can't get things. I'm going to play a video a little bit later that somebody sent me. So sometimes guys can't get things, get a lady's attention because they are physically unattractive, whatever that would mean, whether it's their facial features or financially or even physically somehow unattractive. So the female femcells, she's saying, are physically unattractive and that they're dealing with loneliness. She doesn't say that here for the femcells. Black pill versus pink pilled, right? Black pill didn't really cover that. Black pill says that you look at the way that the world is and you just happen to just be dealing with that, right? War is inevitable. Human nature is just negative. Though that would be examples of black pilled, right? Another one, that a big one is, as crazy as this is going to say, and don't take this out of context, right? Slavery was a cost of business in the United States. I'm not saying it was good, right or wrong. The right or wrong argument is a moral argument. But if you're black pilled, you just look at the way of the world that it is. Hey, listen, this is what was going on. So That's just the way that it is. So I'm not saying I agree with that philosophy at all, but I'm just saying that that's how people would define it. So black pill versus pink pill. Pink pill, I think, again, we're saying are people who go in their own way and all that kind of stuff. So that's that. 2 red pill women. Women gatekeep sex, have sexual capital. Anti-modern women equals anti-feminism. 2 red pill women. Traditional women, red pill woman, leftover woman, 304s. I can't read what that says. A man's value is not determined by how attractive he is. So when a woman puts an overemphasis on man's beauty, that's a masculine woman. Yeah, I don't know. That's their comments there. Even if modern women don't have the advantage in looksmaxxing, they have ideology advantage, which is in the long term resulting in becoming leftover women. So I think that she's trying to say, there's a reason. I think what she's trying to say is there's a reason why some ladies aren't getting the attention, and I think that it's more complicated for women. I don't think it's always about. It could be physically unattractive. That certainly is a thing. But this whole loneliness epidemic that we'll probably discuss is going to address all that. Let's see. 5'8". It's 5'8" for women, for men. I don't know. All right, let's continue on listening to what she's saying.
Sort of make up the majority of the femcel community and have more in common with black pillars. If you don't know what black pill is, black pill refers to individuals who have taken the red pill, at least insofar as incels are concerned. They've taken the red pill. They sort of realize that modern dating is a sham, and that especially for those who do not have any sexual market value or sexual capital, and that they're at a disadvantage, and that 20% of men get all the women, and that therefore the majority of men are going to be celibate for the rest of their life, really. And black pillars sort of have this very fatalistic idea that there is literally no hope for them, that they are the lowest of the low, that they are the ugliest, that they therefore, as Wheat Waffles on YouTube, who is a YouTuber who is a black pill content creator, says that essentially these men, if you look like a sub 5, you have no hope, and you should just find other hobbies like video gaming, sports, fishing, whatever. This is not for you. You're going to be single for the rest of your life. And it's very much an acceptance of that fate of being too ugly and not having the means or the appeal to in any way attract a mate. And so this forms I'd say the majority of the femcel community online, who believe that they, like black pillars, they believe that they are physically unattractive and that they are ugly. And this is very important to remember, because they talk a lot about this idea that I've put down below over here of looksmax or looksmaxxing. This is terminology just from the incel community in general. And it's this idea that basically, firstly, everything is about physical appearance, and that you need to try to.
So how would you purify water in case of a blackout? Oh, I'd boil it. Boiling kills bacteria, but it doesn't remove.
To maximize your physical attractiveness, and or if you can, that's the important thing. If you can, some people there's no hope for, which is ultimately where a lot of these femcells and also a lot of the black pill incels fall into this idea that no matter what they do, they will not be able to looksmax. And incels believe that women have disproportionately been looksmaxxing from a very young age, and that this is something that is primarily centered around women, because with women it's all about looks and it's all about their physical attractiveness and youthfulness. And that
I wouldn't say all, but that certainly is the primary attention getter for men, is how she looks. That is certainly the primary thing about that. And I think that within the modern age, with women working more and all this kind of stuff, they are now engaging in quote unquote looksmaxxing for the guys, right? So they're looking at the tallest attractive guy they can get. So it's probably going both ways now.
Femcells also believe in this very strongly, and they believe in that there's sort of different kinds of looksmaxxing. There's soft looksmaxxing, which is to do with sort of wearing makeup, exercising, eating healthy, those sorts of things. Maybe
Exercising and eating healthy is looksmaxxing. Okay, well, how about we just do it just for good health? How about that? But okay.
Even a little bit of Botox, sort of all of that, shaving, just bathing, general things that.
Bathing. So now you're engaging in looksmaxxing if you're bathing.
Women primarily disproportionately do from a young age up until, you know, the end of time. And then there's hard maxing, and this is more contemporary and more sort of a very new thing, which is why even in the incel community it's quite controversial. Even soft maxing, especially makeup, is controversial within the incel community because it's seen, at least with women, femcells don't seem to have a problem with it as much in terms of especially makeup, but incels do tend to have an issue with women wearing makeup. It's seen as deception as opposed to enhancing attraction and sort of a form of catfishing even. And
I agree. I don't think I'm an incel. Well, I'm definitely not an incel. But yeah, I mean, I'm just rewind that a little bit, make sure I caught the full context here.
But incels do tend to and seem to have a problem in the incel community because it's still, even soft maxing, especially makeup, is controversial within the incel community because it's seen, at least with women, femcells don't seem to have a problem with it as much in terms of especially makeup, but incels do tend to have an issue with women wearing makeup. It's seen as deception as opposed to enhancing attraction and sort of a form of catfishing even, and that makeup is used to hide ugliness in opposition to sort of enhancing what's already there. So incels have a bit of a
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. I do personally.
Have a very weird relationship with makeup and also with fake hair, fake nails, all these sorts of things.
Yeah, we want the real you. Is that a negative? Is that a negative to want the real you?
So it's a whole thing. Just looksmaxxing in and of itself is very controversial in this whole community, but especially hard maxing, which has to do with mainly cosmetic procedures and plastic surgery. And this is now seen as, there's some, especially in the femcells, who see this as sort of an opportunity for ugly women to enhance their looks and to look better. And, you know, if you save enough money and you get all these procedures done, then you can maximize your looks. But there's others who see this as, well, firstly, you have to have the money. There's no guarantee on actually having successful procedures. There's no guarantee that what procedure you have will sort of be in vogue in the next 20 years. For instance, I mean, the Kardashians allegedly have removed their Brazilian butt lifts, and so that's you know, that's sort of a problem when it comes to sort of plastic surgery being mainly what's sort of in fashion at the time, very much so what's trending online, and also the fact that there is recognition among femcells that there's recognition, but it's sort of a very there's a lot of friction in this recognition that on the one hand, they believe that looks are everything and that sort of they are physically unattractive, but they also realize that there are women who may look amazing but are not able to find a partner to pair with. And that tends to, even among themselves, like I saw some conversations where some of...
All right, so we're going to fast forward a little bit to this. We're going to go to what was it? I just saw it. Pink pill versus black pill, white waxing. Let's go to 109 here. Women going their own way. Then we'll do red pill women explained. So we'll take a look at this. I sped it up a little bit, so just about 11 minutes here.
So also within the black pill side of femcells, you have sort of their equivalent of MGTOW. If you don't know, MGTOW is just an acronym for men going their own way. This idea of sort of individuals who are incels, but are also potentially even, actually not always, but men who are incels, not because they can't get laid by women, but because they've decided that modern women are actually just more hassle than anything else, and that they would rather just go their own way. And in this way, they have a lot in common with the female equivalent, who basically have firstly accepted their fate, which is that they are not going to find a suitable mate, and they have given up on that venture at all, or they're getting older in years and therefore realize that their sexual capital is now depleting, and have therefore decided to, as they would say, lie down and rot. This idea that there's no hope. But
I don't agree with that assessment that they're physically for MGTOWs, men going their own way. I think her first definition was correct, that I think that men have many men, some obviously there are some, but this movement started because they have determined that the juice is not worth the squeeze, and presumably those are sometimes average men who probably could get a lady, more than likely can get a lady in a long-term relationship, and because of the elevated standards of this 50-50 talk and all this other stuff, they are now saying, I don't want to deal with any of that. They don't want to deal with the emotional labor that it takes, the gift buying, the expectations. They don't want to deal with it because they don't think that they're getting enough in return for their investment. So therefore they're saying, I'm good with all this. I'm just gonna just do my own thing. That's what I think that most of the MGTOWs, I don't know any surveys or numbers or anything like that. Are there some who said, yeah, okay, I can't get a woman, let me just do something else? I'm sure that there is a segment of them like that. But from what I understand, the primary definition of, or the reasoning or rationale is exactly what I just said. So,
but instead of seeing sort of this hopelessness as a negative thing and as something to be misanthropic about, they see it as sort of a relief, like something to be, it's sort of like when you, I guess, I don't know, when you're running a race and you know that you can't make it to the end. And so you give up, but not in a negative sense. You give up in the way of just, sitting down on the sidelines and just breathing a sigh of relief, because it's just like, okay, it's over. I'm not going to try to do something that I'm not going to be able to finish. And so it's this idea of sort of the power, as was said in an article, the power in claiming a negative identity. And that tends to be a lot of what MGTOW is about, this idea of claiming and reclaiming sort of a power within this idea of deciding not to bother with modern dating standards and with modern women, and to just find meaning elsewhere in other spheres of life. And that is what some femcells have decided to do. But this is primarily, at least from what I could see, primarily older women who are now, at least insofar as sort of statistics show, at least data insofar as what men are attracted to, at least on dating apps, they tend to be attracted to women who are in their early to mid 20s. That is sort of the prime interest, where the prime interest lies. And so the older you get, the less attention you get. And this definitely tends to be sort of rhetoric around femcells who are older and have therefore decided, instead of pursuing men, instead of trying to form relationships with men, to just accept that they have a depleted or now non-existent sexual capital, and are therefore just going to go their own way. So it's interesting, the overlap. I found that quite interesting to just see, because I don't know, it just seems quite sad in that I think just naturally humans, even when we give up on something, right, and we just are like, we sort of see something as hopeless. At least for me, I sort of have my days of hopelessness, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is just hopeless. And, dating apps are just hopeless. And, I can't stand them. But then, down the line, I will sort of go back into it and try again. And I think that is just sort of the nature of the human condition, really, to just, even when we give up on things, we do tend to go back and try, even if it's just trying a new thing or a different thing. And I think when it comes to actually just the state of being human, which is very much just a state of trying to find moments of, I think, happiness or content, I think sort of a long-term resignation to one's fate is just very antithetical to sort of everything that it is to feel like a human being. And I just find that I find it quite sad, but also I personally don't think that it sort of works in the long term. I think when it does sort of, I guess, work, it's when it is actually just, I think, something that comes not from negativity and not from sort of giving up, but from a very concerted and very purposeful decision that sort of stems, I think, from a place of positivity more so, or a place of sort of confidence, say, as opposed to a place of this being the only alternative, and therefore I'm going to turn this only option and only alternative into something that I can gain power and credibility for myself and my own self-worth and esteem from. So yeah, it's just quite sad, but it is nonetheless interesting. So that is at least sort of the incel woman factor of this, which has sort of come from incels. And I think this has a lot to do with the second group of people related to femcells who I want to talk about, which are red pill women. Now, I think that when it comes to understanding femcells, there's sort of a lot of confusion with just in terms of even like articles. Like I read some articles, like one in Elle magazine, and also some in just some more, I guess, tabloid papers, because there was sort of this whole thing at the beginning of the year about this being the year of the femcells. And they tended to get sort of confused between red pill women and femcells. I think just because the idea of taking the red pill is sort of being awakening to the condition of modernity that you find yourself in, and that women, as red pill women, believe gatekeep sex and have sexual capital. And then on the other hand, femcells don't experience that and don't believe that wholeheartedly, at least some functions of it, but they call themselves pink pill women. So completely different, especially insofar as what they believe. Even though, like with red pill men, you would call them, or you would associate them directly with sort of incels and this idea of inceldom. So it gets a bit confusing, but it's just for the sake of brevity, red pill women are completely distinct and are completely hated by pink pill women. Completely different thing, okay? But then they do relate. I love life. Okay, so I'm just going to have a little bit of a water break just before and look at your comments, and then we'll get into all of that.
I don't know if she defines.
Yes, that's a very good point. And that is like a point that I'm going to be getting to down below, especially with regards to this idea of anti-sex revolution woman.
I don't know if she defines red pill women. I'm going to get to your comments too, right? Let's see, Gail, let's put the description. None of these terms would exist without social media. Well, that's definitely true. Traveling and pets. That's probably a pink pill, but I'm trying to differ. I want to know if she defines the difference between pink pill and red pill. I'm definitely interested in that.
Because incels don't want any woman to sleep with them, but conventionally attractive or in their terms high value woman. Yes, and it's just interesting because they believe that, you know, woman in their terms high value woman.
What does she say here? Well, most incels don't want any woman to sleep with them, but conventionally attractive or in their terms high value women. No, that's not true. I don't think that's true. I think she said that she agrees with that. I think that it's involuntarily celibate. That's what the term stands for. So because I can't attract any woman, right? Because if you could sleep with any woman, then you would not be celibate. If you could get any woman. Involuntarily means I can't sleep with any woman. No woman on this planet, for whatever reason, is not coming after me. That's why I don't really buy the term, but that's what they mean. Now, it could mean, well, I suppose it could mean what they're saying, high value women, but that would not be the technical terminology that I would use. So,
yes, and it's just interesting because they believe that, you know, women should be at least willing to sleep with any men, but that they are the gatekeepers ultimately to sex, and that there shouldn't be or isn't such a thing as a femcel, because women just need to lower their standards. It's interesting how certain expectations apply to one group but not to another. You know, I just it's a mad world we live in, really is. We don't need to hunt anymore. Yeah, I guess not. Zakora, beautiful name, by the way. Love that name, Zakora. Lovely name. Why don't women have looksmaxxing? Yes, it is. Women do. Looksmaxxing is primarily woman-based, and very, very much so, especially when it comes to red pill women and their idea of womanhood and their idea of what at least makes a traditional woman, or the most beneficial condition for women. Looksmaxxing is very important. Yeah.
I think what Zakora is asking is, why don't they have that for men? Why aren't they engaged in that? But I could be wrong. Now I'm getting thirsty while she's drinking it.
Right. So we're nearly there, guys. We're almost there. Don't you worry. Okay. So, as I said, red pill women are distinct from pink pill women, which, yeah, just as like an idea is just so confusing to so many people. And understandably, I get that. Red pill women, however, have actually made it quite big on social media. And it's interesting because I think I said before that when it comes to YouTube and TikTok, red pill women get banned all the time. But when it comes to Reddit, the r/red pill woman is flourishing, at least in terms of a subreddit, and in terms of activity and moderation and all of that. It's doing really, really well. And Reddit doesn't seem to have a problem with it at all. But banned pink pill feminism and true femcells. So it's interesting. It's very, very interesting. So the double standards of all these different social media platforms when it comes to women trying to find spaces to express particular grievances. But I digress. Red pill women have basically taken the red pill. They have not taken the pink pill. The pink pill is toxic and is poison. They've taken the red pill, which means that they ascribe to basically everything that red pill men, especially Rollo Tomasi, has to say about the condition of men and women in modern society. Basically, they believe that the entire premise of their thinking is that women are the gatekeepers of sex and men are the gatekeepers of commitment. And that when it comes to women actually finding meaningful relationships with men, that modernity and feminism have completely decimated this, because it has created this illusion that women can have their cake and can eat it, that women can basically take on what are conventionally, or as they would call it, masculine energy traits and masculine energy values and things such as independence, going out to work, earning their own income, going into higher education, not doing the traditional things within the home and within the family unit, having children later, having less children, hiring nannies instead of raising children by themselves, entering government and office. That women can have that and can do that, but then at the same time have everything that women, not just biologically, but also culturally desire in men, such as masculinity, but of course masculinity on the terms of modern women, that they want a man who is strong, who is tall, who is the creme de la creme of everything that you sort of see in sort of like, I don't know, Sigma males, you know, all those sorts of things. And that this delusion, as they call it, is what has resulted in, firstly, femcells, and also this issue of more women in the future who are going to end up single and are going to end up celibate. And so they have a lot in common with incels in believing that women can get sex, and that they don't believe that femcells don't exist. They believe most definitely that they exist and are going to increasingly exist, but that this existence is the fault of women and of modernity itself. So they divide women into sort of three categories, and this is typically
I actually kind of agree with that definition. I agree with her assessment about that. Let me see you guys' comments here. Let's see. Yeah, I actually agree with that, with her assessment of that. So I'm glad that she defined that.
Most of this, because these are sort of the only sort of women who are more so public, or at least speak publicly about their views about such things in the sort of same sort of way and with the same sort of formula as incels, as red pill men who have like podcasts and sort of platforms on social media, that sort of thing. There's very few of them. They're not terribly out there. I think, again, this has a lot to do with just the different ways in which men and women approach sort of these topics online and garnering an audience. And also, I think just a lot of the hate, disproportionate hate that I think female creators in sort of these very controversial spaces get relative to their male counterparts, especially from incel communities themselves. But I'd say that most of my references for Red Pill Woman comes from Just Pearly Things, who actually popped up on sort of my feed at the beginning of the year. And I must admit, at first I just thought it was trolling. I didn't think it was anything real, but I don't know, recently she's sort of been, I've just seen her name sort of popping up everywhere. I think the BreadTube has sort of discovered her and now are just making videos all about her. And so it's she's sort of making the rounds, at least in that regard. But she, Just Pearly Things, her name is Pearl Davis. I believe she's my age. She's 25 years old, 25, 26 years old. And she's very outspoken.
I did not know this woman was 25 years old, 26. Wow. I thought she was in her late 30s. Oh man. Wow. Okay.
About being a red pill woman. She has a podcast in which she speaks very openly and vocally about being very pro the red pill and the manosphere as it is, and thinks that this is basically
I'm gonna fast forward a little bit.
Firstly, women are going to wake up from the absolute delusion of modernity, and also it's sort of a place in which she exposes or tries to expose as she calls it always, like the delusion of modern woman. And she divides women, I think I've heard, at least in listening to her podcast and watching clips of her and episodes that she's put out on YouTube and on TikTok when she isn't banned, she divides women into sort of these three categories. I wouldn't say she officially divides them into these 3 categories, but when she talks about women, this is typically what.
I'm going to fast forward a little bit here so we can keep our conversation going here. Red pill in the mainstream anti-sex and hookup culture. Let's do Western women in North America, second wave feminism, and then we'll finish off.
Stretching will not make you flexible, and it will not eliminate your recurring injuries. Stretching will relax your muscles and make,
at least in terms of what I read and could tell, I find that it's just a lot less. I think this is just the divide between Europe and the Americas. I think in the US, things are a lot more practical and a lot more sort of like making political institutional changes, changing sort of society, doing the very, very much things like on the ground activism and that sort of thing. Whereas in Europe, it tends to be very like sort of philosophical, sort of like, wondering about, the world and everything, going through an existential crisis when you figure out that God is dead. And it's very sort of individualistic, very much a personal sort of awakening within yourself, discovering your own being, I think, therefore I am, that sort of thing. Very melodramatic in Europe. And I think that definitely is a thing that sort of plays a lot into feminism as well, because Simone was very much about sort of the Martin Heidegger's notion, or the phenomenological. Oh my God, I can spell phenomenology perfectly, but when it comes to actually saying phenomenology or phenomenological, I'm terrible. Excuse me for that. Excuse me. But when it comes to phenomenology, Simone was very much about this idea of sort of freedom, not just being about institutional and practical changes, but that it has to be an actual change in being, a change within yourself. A woman being able to, you can only be free, really free, when you yourself have realized your own being and have discovered the condition of.
All right, I think that's enough of that. So that's the pink pill, red pill. That's the differences that that people have thoughts about, and all that kind of stuff. Is this research in or Wikipedia? Yeah. So that's right. So I think it's interesting. So I've heard of Pearlie Davis. She had some controversies. If you follow this type of space, Pearlie Davis is a woman who was living in the UK. I think she's now living in the United States, who was 24, 25 when she started her channel, something like that. She gained over something like 1 million followers just right after Kevin Samuels passed. She really kind of stepped in, and she had a lot of followers. And then she said there were some things that were going on controversially behind the scenes. They were having, allegedly, there was a guy who worked on her show. His name is Sarah Garvey. Sarah Garvey. He was working on her show, and he, talked about contract debates and stuff like that, and even illicit activities that were going on behind the scenes and all this kind of stuff. So that kind of took her down a little bit, and she lost favor in a quote unquote manosphere red pill space. And then let's see. So she talked a lot about the red pill and said, yeah, it's modernity and all that. I always thought that just Pearlie things, or Pearl Davis, as her name is, was kind of grifting, just kind of going along to get along. Saw what Kevin Samuels had done and really kind of tried to step in and fill his shoes and all that kind of stuff. So the pink pill, I mean, that's what the pink pill is. And I think that according to who we looked at the other day, Christian Karazin has kind of embraced this thing and said, we need to focus more on ourselves and all this. And this particular lady, Kidology, or whatever her actual name is, from the video we just watched, is saying that, she's not so much embracing it, but saying that these are pink pill people who are femcells who are kind of just like, okay, well, I'm never going to get a man and all that. Again, I don't believe that that's a real thing, because I think that unless there's really something really tremendously wrong with you, I think that as a woman, of course, I'm not a woman, but I think that any woman can particularly get a man, at least for a couple of nights. But having a long-term relationship, and I got pushback about this. And I did a show, if you haven't watched it, it's on I did on V Mindful's channel, and go check that out. And we had a good discussion. She cut a lot out, but we had a good discussion. And one of the things that I remember asking her is, this exactly what this lady said in this video is this an issue because a lot of ladies is it an issue for older women to get the attention of men because they're older, because they have put things off for so long. They have put off their romantic life and seeking accolades, activities, their careers, boss chicken up, and all that kind of stuff. So now that they're in their late 30s, 40s, 50s or so, they really want something and they really can't get it. So we had a good discussion about that. So she actually called long ago to Kevin. That's where it started. And she said herself, Pearlie Davis herself said that she did a seminar with, not seminar, but like a one-on-one session or something, like maybe 1 or 2 one-on-one sessions to kind of pick his brain, how she started a YouTube channel and things like that. So she said that of her own mouth that I saw. So that's the pink pill. So are you all red pill? Any red pill ladies in here? Any pink pill ladies in here? I'd certainly love to hear your thoughts and your opinions about this. If you haven't watched the first part of this, which was all broken up because of internet connections, please make sure you go back and watch that. But that's the pink pill. So I'm not going to chime in on the validity of the arguments, whether women can really get that or get the attention. I certainly think that they're having a hard time getting the quality type of man, or that they want. I hear all the time that they get a bunch of wedding proposals, they get approached in stores, but is it the type of man that you want? And that's where the rub comes in at. It's like, because guys don't get the attention. A woman, I've said this before, a woman can put up on her, she will sign up for a dating site, and within an hour she's got 50, 60, 100 likes. A guy goes weeks, months without that. So it's definitely all that. It's definitely a thing. Jayla says she's neither red, pink, or black. So that's that. So I was hoping Auntie Anita would jump in here now. So let me send her a message here. Are you in the building, Auntie Anita? Pinkish here. Pinkish. So is the question, is it that you can't get any man? You don't have to be specific, but or the type of man that you want? And I think there is a difference. There is a difference. I mean, nobody wants to be approached by bums and all that kind of stuff. And but you should watch the most recent Pop the Balloon. It was older women and men. It was a mess on both sides. That came across my feed on Instagram. I can't sit there for a whole hour or however long it is and watch that. But so tell me about it, pandering. Was it that people were and these are older people now, was it that they didn't like what they had, or they were set in their ways? What was the problem? What exactly was the problem? If you want to come up, I'll let you come up too. So if it would take too long to explain here. For me, PHI, me, Philadelphia. I don't know. I think it's a scheme that Todd set up. I don't know what that means. You got me on that one. I didn't realize there were so many pills. Somebody also said there's a white pill too. So listen, I don't pay attention to all this kind of stuff. I prefer a drug-free woman, right? No pills. Just be yourself. Just be yourself. Just be yourself. Yeah. So this is all stuff that, and again, this is all, that's why I'm saying it's really kind of all just taken off of what the red pill was supposed to do. It was supposed to red pill was again an analogy taken from the Matrix to try to wake men up to the realities of what the dating market is like and your chances in it. And again, I don't think that it was so much saying that you can't. That's why I disagree with this lady. It's not so much that you can't get a woman, but that the cost of doing business is just not worth it. And particularly in the modern society, that most women, no, not most women, but many women don't know how to cook, refuse to clean, refuse to take care of business and do what they're supposed to do as far as the nurturing side of relationships that men are looking for. And because you don't get that energy, but I'm taking you out to dinner, I'm taking you bowling, I'm paying for your trips, paying for your nails, and I don't get this nurturing side back, then the cost of doing business is just not worth it for me. So I'm saying I'm not going to do that. and meanwhile, still getting complaints, and you don't get sex on demand, or not that it should be on demand, but it should be, fairly regular. You're not getting any of the things that you want, but you're paying all this stuff. Now, are there men who can't get it and just becoming more? Those are probably more. I would say that those were probably black pill. She's putting them in the camp of being red pill, as being incels. I don't think that's the case for red pill men. I think red pill men are in the place that they are because they recognize that the juice isn't worth the squeeze. Black pill men would say, listen, I'm not attractive, whether financially or physically, and therefore no woman's going to like me, so I might as well just do something else. So that's what I think the difference would be. A business. I saw a clip of that. Yeah, it was a mess. I'm I'm lost in that. I guess it was on the show. So if there is a clip of it, I'll take a look at a 5-minute clip, but I'm not sitting for an hour. I don't believe in any pills. I think it's all divisive. Well, that's the question I initially asked is any of this helping individuals, or is it hurting individuals? That's the big question. Is it making us sicker? Is all this pills? I'm a part of this community. I'm a part of that community. I'm going to do this. Is it just driving us further apart? Right. And actually, I'm not even done talking about this because I want to do something about the blue pill men, why they stay where they are. I'm going to do that probably on Wednesday. So I thought the pink was for women that embrace femininity. This is what I'm saying. So this particular lady is saying, no, this is kind of a surrender. So I think that there's really no coherent definition, because Christian Kerrison would saying, no, this is embracing femininity, embracing who you are, and becoming the best version of yourself in that place, and kind of not centering men. We're not centering men, but if a man comes into my life, that's great too. That's why I thought Christian Kerrison was saying. This particular lady that we just watched a little while ago is saying something completely different. It's almost a surrender. Like, oh man, I can't get any man because I'm ugly. I don't engage in Looksmaxxing, all this kind of stuff. So that's what I understood her to be saying. At the gym, so I can't come up, but I will summarize. Essentially, height, tight clothes got the men. Some of the women were still talking about clubs with 3 kids and their IG cheeks out. Okay. Some of the women were still talking about clubs with 3 kids and their IG cheeks out. Yeah, so yeah, it was crazy. I mean, if you're still and what is older? Like 40 and up, 45 and up, 50 and up? What's older? I haven't watched any of that. Sororities come off as pink per the description. Okay. So they're trying to do what Christian Kerrison would say is, we're gonna remember Kristen Kerrison had 2 things, right? One side she said we're gonna focus on ourselves and focus on our femininity, and then she's saying we're gonna focus on business as well. And when you're in these different environments, that you're going to learn how to move and make the room. But I would say that is, again, sort of kind of moving in a certain masculine frame that this lady pointed out. I'm not saying, listen, if you're in the business world, you got to move in that frame. You gotta, otherwise you're going to get swallowed up. I mean, it's a world full of sharks, and either you're going to swim with them or you're going to be prey, So she was referring to the balloon pop with older people. Right. Right. I get that. How old were the people though? That's what I'm questioning. Yes. Yep. Got that. Men were brutal a bit about age. 2 got popped because they were the men's age and or older. And to your point with Be Mindful. Yeah. Actually, I had to text Be Mindful after that. I'm like, man, listen, I didn't mean to hurt you. Because she cut all out. She was really kind of shaken up about that. And I'm not trying to be harsh or anything, but it's, truth is truth. And if a guy's in a certain place, he's going to take somebody old, because men and women are not the same. He's going to take somebody younger, because men and women are not the same. And this idea that's swirling around certain people's heads is just incorrect. And if a man has a choice if all things are equal between if you're older, let's just say a 50-year-old woman and a 35 or 40-year-old woman, all things are equal. Kids, looks, weight, energy, education, whatever else guys are looking for, if all that is equal, he's going to take the 35-year-old. And V was saying, if you watch the show, V was saying that it doesn't matter to her because she'll take the 35-year-old or 40-year-old to keep it consistent, 40-year-old guy over a 50-year-old guy. Okay, I mean that's just not the way that men look at the world, and we got to recognize that. It's hurting the Black community. How so, HG? The pills are hurting. I assume the pills are hurting. So the red pill, I think, the red pill is saying to get men to understand, well, at least it should be, to understand what's going on here and move accordingly, whether that's save yourself, SYSBM, save yourself, black man, MGTOW, men going their own way, whether you're going to choose to engage in this world. They would call that the purple pill. I see what the world is, and I'm choosing to engage. Blue pill men, which I want to do a show about, are saying, I don't think that red pill is correct. Women are beautiful. There's sugar, spice, and everything nice. You guys just can't get women. I don't know what's wrong with you guys and all that kind of stuff. So I definitely want to do a show about that. So how is it hurting the Black community? I think a lot of things are hurting the Black community, and from our unrealistic expectations to all the other stuff that we got going on. Y'all make sure y'all hit the like button. I don't know where we're at with the likes, but hit the like button, please. Men ask horrible questions. They just seemed like they did not know how to talk. I'm hearing that more and more, that these guys don't know how to talk. Is that really a problem where guys can't hold a conversation? I mean, seriously, I've never. I mean, it seems as if you got these two really, really extremes. You got these Macs who just, smooth as butter. Every word is coming out of their mouth is just, panty dropping material. And other guys who are stuttering over the words. I mean, is it really that big of a discrepancy between the two? That's just crazy to me. Throw out the pills and let food be that medicine. Well, we all agree with that. 38 to 51. Okay. Wow. That's really, and they all got cheeks out and talking crazy and can't talk and looking. So when I say that this stuff seems to be, let's just put all this to rest, that when I say all the stuff that I've been saying, and it's like, oh, you're choosing women who are 20s and this, and you're choosing the wrong women. This is all over. This is all over. Different socioeconomic classes and all this kind of stuff, right? There's a video. I don't have the clip of it. Otherwise, I would play it, and I don't know where to start and stop it and all that. But it was really interesting. I was watching somebody else I follow on YouTube. His name is BGS Idmore. And so he was talking about, he played a video clip of a ratchet lady. I don't know where Miss Anita is. I texted her. So he's playing a video of a panel of ladies who were ratchet. This was on Anton Daniels' show. He took this from Anton Daniels' show. Panel of ladies who were admittedly all ratchet, right? It was really a bad look for Anton Daniels, who claims to be a Christian, in my estimation, claims to be a Christian, claims to be a lover of God, and he's got these ratchet ladies on the show. And so when he's playing the video, right, there's ladies who are talking, and they're talking crazy and talking harsh. They're admitting, I'm toxic, but they're all claiming to be living in now upscale communities. And and one of them said, when I get in my son's face, I'm talking to him crazy, this, that, and the other. And she had to check herself and say, why am I doing this to my son? Why am I talking to my son like this? Now, she said her son was a nice guy who was, 12, 13, 14, something like that. He's a nice guy, very soft-spoken, not confrontational. These are all words that she was saying out of her mouth on this panel. And she recognized that she was in his face. And she's like, you know what? Why am I talking to my son like this? Meanwhile, she was preparing her daughter to be corporate, to move up, to take advantage, to seize the day, however you want to say it. So she recognized how she was training these two different individuals. And as BGS was doing a reaction video to it, he's saying this is exactly how you get nice guys who are in schools, 12, 13, 14, high school, and they grow up and they see this type of behavior from their women in their life, their aunties, their mothers, and they grow up and they don't want to date black women. It was an excellent analysis, and these ladies all on the panel were all saying the same thing. I'm toxic. Yeah, I'm ratchet, but I live in the upscale neighborhood now. But you've taken your hood behaviors and you've taken them to the suburbs, and then when your sons see and are treated a certain way, and then they go to school with Karen and Cindy and what's an Asian name? Chun-Li. I don't know. When and now they see the difference in how they're being treated, and they say to themselves, I don't want to be treated this way. And so that's how you create these guys that you don't want. First of all, you emasculate them so they don't have the masculine presence in and of themselves, number one. And number two, they're like, I don't really want to deal with a woman like that. So it's all very sad. It's all very sad. The pink red culture, gender wars parodied after white culture, and we don't have the same experiences and we have to move differently. Well, I definitely agree with that. Shonda H. Good afternoon, Dr. L. I agree that all these so-called pills movement is very divisive. It's good to be informed. The issue is grouping certain practices of men and women into all one group. We're not a monolith. I hear that, and I don't like. And I know people when they say that in a good way. But I don't like that we're not a monolith. And I'm not saying that we all ought to be in the same thing. Obviously there are black people who are in the anime and the bull riding and goth. I mean, everybody doesn't grow up the way that we all grew up. But I think that we ought to have a certain cultural cohesion. I think we ought to really have that. Otherwise, we've gotten what we've gotten by not being a monolith. And sometimes we say that and say to ourselves, don't treat me like X, Y, and Z. And nobody wants to be treated like the ladies I just described in the panel, or nobody wants to be treated like, the quote unquote Pookie and Ray Ray who's not working and not taking care of his kids and in and out of jail. I don't want to be seen like that as a black man. But we ought to have some type of cultural foundation, cohesion, that we all say to ourselves, man, this is the way we need to move and be. So, yeah. Yes, sir. BGS. What about the hypocrite pill? Men saying one thing but desperately seeking women. Oh, I think that the red pill space want women. I think a lot of red pill guys, if you had the financial means, will probably become passport bros. Because they had the financial means to move out the country or whatever. Because it's a Western women thing. It's not a women thing. It's a Western women thing. And I want to call Miss Anita here. Hold on a second here. And so I also think that the black pill really and incel men, if it really is a thing, really want women. They really want them. I mean, these pills are coming from a place of frustration because you want something. Even blue pill men, right? It's a place of frustration. There's something that you want that you can't attain it. That's the friend zone situation, right? It's you want something differently, but you're limited by your options. You're limited by these options, and what your options are is probably in men's cases is number one your financial status, and number two your physical status, whether you're a good-looking guy or maybe you're overweight or whatever. There's some limitation that you can't come over for whatever reason. So and that's why the NFL NBA draft looked like it does. Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate that, Eric. I really do appreciate that. Thank you. I am close to 60 years old, and even though I prefer men 10 years or more, younger men have been attracted to men, in which I'm not interested. And so if you watch the video that I did with Be Mindful, she said that because she said, we get these men. It's one thing to get these men, right? You're a 45-year-old woman, got a good career, whatever, and you're dating a 25-year-old or a 30-year-old. You know it's not going to last. That's what she said out of her own mouth. She's like, listen, we know it's not going to last. Either he's going to want something younger at some point, he's going to want to have kids, which we're past that place or age, or you got to treat this kid as a kid. He's 30 years old and now he doesn't have this much life experience, and most women want a man with life experience. That's why it doesn't matter to them, and where it does matter to men. That's why it doesn't matter. Men are not so much looking for a woman with life experience. That's not what we're looking for. Right? It's really not. So a lot of times, the more life experience, the more turned off a guy can get. you know it's just the way that it is. I just think that it's a giant grift on all sides. They will always look at the worst examples on every side of the post video and take money because they're not affected by the community. Well, that's true. There's definitely a lot of grifting going on here. So I'm actually, I actually I had a couple of different channels that I watch YouTube on, and one of them I'm really trying to get away from this type of stuff because I don't want that. Becky, that was another name. I really don't want my other algorithm focused on that. I mean, it's kind of bothersome that every time I turn around, there's some new video, and some of the videos are the same title. Why men have given up? Why women will never? It's the same title. It's the same title, but people are clicking on them. Therefore, it is what it is. What I meant by modeling comments is when we repeatedly hear women say all black men ain't good or can't be faithful, or black women. No, I definitely understand. I definitely understand what you're saying, Shonda. But I've seen, and I'm adding to that. I'm not rebutting what you're saying. I'm adding to that, is saying that I've heard people on MSNBC and CNBC and CNN panels, black men saying the same thing, Fox News, particularly Fox News, all saying the same thing, because and they're saying it in the context of, I don't want to be associated with those type of people, so we're not a monolith. And it's really that really kind of irks me that they would say that, particularly on Fox News. We know the majority of the audience, and all you want to do is disassociate yourself with a group. Now we all don't want to be lumped in with that group. I certainly don't want to lump good, hardworking, soft, sweet, feminine women in with the ratchet chicks that I was talking about in the video that I mentioned. We all don't want to be in with that. But list is a stupid reason to relocate. Finding a new life is better. Well, I agree with that. Yeah, if you're gonna relocate, do that. I mean, relocating because you can't get a woman is crazy. Let me call. I did tell her today. Hold on, let me put you guys on mute. I'm gonna call her. All right, so I called her, left a message. I don't know. I hope she's okay. All right, so let's continue on with the comments here. Some of y'all red pills, some of the red pills put women down and talk about how they are not worth the squeeze, but yet they seek them desperately. Well, that's what I'm saying. It's a point of frustration. I totally agree with that. They're coming from a point of frustration, and I don't agree with putting the women down and all that. But I think a lot of it has to do with putting them down so that they will come back to the table. I don't see that's, or come back and date me. Right, I'm the best option you have. You ain't gonna get Chad or Brad. You ain't gonna do this. Pookie's just gonna dump you over, so you might as well date me. There's a lot of that going on there, instead of working on themselves to be more attractive. That's the angle that I'm coming into that, right? So become more attractive. So Black couples have succeeded by being collaborative and resourceful. We are stronger together than apart. I think that is well said. I think that there's been too much division that is going on. Again, I was watching. I would have had these tuned up if I would have known this was going on. But I was watching a video about. No, actually, I'm reading a book. I'm actually reading a book. It's called The Color of Law by Richard Rothstein. Well, audio book in it. So that's the book that I'm going through right now. And it talks about, all the things that happen to Black people. This is a Jewish dude, Richard or Robert. One of them. His last name is Rothstein. Color of Law is the name of the book. And so he's talking about, what happened to Black people throughout the years, the segregation, the redlining, the blockbusting. He goes through stories of people who came back from the war, World War II, couldn't get jobs, and if they did get a job, they couldn't get housing in certain places. And I think the first or second chapter of the book is called "If It Happened in San Francisco," and he's detailing about this brother who had to drive an hour to work every day, and and the realtors wouldn't let him buy in certain communities, and all this kind of crazy stuff, right? And this is a Jewish white guy, writing this book, who wrote this book, and just talking about all the stuff that happened to African American people. And so as I'm listening to this, or whatever, as I'm listening to this, all I could think about is, man, we went through so much together. We stuck together. And then you get to 68, 69, 70, the elimination and eradication of the Black Panther Party and all this other stuff. And then next thing you know, we just hate each other's guts. So from that point going forward, right, in the 80s and 90s, right, we had the Ricky Lakes and the other Sally Jesse Raphael and Oprah and all these other talk shows, and see our ladies getting up there. And I couldn't articulate it at the time. I was a young guy, but I remember watching those shows like, man, why are they talking about these men like this? Ladies, I'm doing so good. I can't find no man on my level. And then I also saw guys on the same or on the same show or a different show talking about, I don't date Black women because of their attitudes. So the same conversation has been going on for 30 and 40 years. And it's really a terrible thing, It's really a terrible thing that has happened to our community. So I definitely agree with that. We're better together, but a lot of people are giving up on the community. A lot of people are giving up on the community. Let's see. I kind of adopted a bit of medium man stance. I let people have any and all standards they want. It is their job to go and get it. Yeah. Medium man's doing some good work, I think. Exactly. Do you know that the Charles River in Cambridge, Mass was once a Black community that was flooded? Yeah, it's crazy. So speaking of that, Yvette Carnell, someone else who I listen to from time to time. She read through the DOJ, Department of Justice's summary or investigation into the Tulsa massacre. She's reading through it on her show. Again, I'm thinking, man, we went through so much together, right? We'll never know how many people were killed because they just threw people in mass graves. Some people were washed down the river. We'll never know how many people were killed in the Tulsa massacre, right? The government was in on it using airplanes, and then the people who at the time, within 2-3 years, tried to sue the government to get reparations, and the government like, nah, we're not gonna do it. We're not going to give you any reparations. Black people are owed reparations. I don't particularly jump on the path of for slavery in the acts of slavery. I think for the psychological and emotional and the financial damage that was done through Jim Crow in all the other stuff, right? The massacre in Tulsa is just the most famous one. You know how many other situations were like that? Read the book. What's the book called? Red Summer or something like that? 1921, Red Summer. I think that's the name of the book. All the different riots that were going on, black racial riots that were going on. Black people we were owed reparations. When we see the quote unquote Pookies, when we see because it affected our mindset and the emotional psychosocial damage that is done to us collectively when we look at ghettos, and that's the term that we use, ghetto, is an isolation. You place into a community with the inability to escape that community, particularly financial, right? And there's no resources coming in. Our schools are terrible. We don't get the services. Rothstein also wrote a column. Apparently, this is his line of work. He did a column, "The Making of Ferguson," after Michael Brown had gotten killed. The Making of Ferguson. You can still get that. I think it's in the Atlantic, but you can Google that. Rothstein, "The Making of Ferguson." How Ferguson came to be and why he talked about that, because why did Michael Brown and the whole community get fed up with the system? The system. Crazy. Definitely worth reading. I think we're searching for a reason to disqualify instead of things to build on. Absolutely. Some talking points toxic further keeps us divided and validates people's thoughts about experiences. Absolutely. There's an intentionality in that. Folks gravitate to negative over positive content. There are swaths of Black people globally doing well. We just don't hear them. Oh, that's definitely true. I'm quite sure that there's more of us doing well. Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm sure that there's more of us doing well. And unfortunately, it's the negative that gets the attention, just like these pills and this red pill space and all this kind of stuff, right? The positive people aren't getting the attention. To HJ's comment, Indian Asians are the ones who have a huge household income, but when folks hear that, they immediately jump to say, but they are not happy, or extreme negative scenario. I've never heard them not being happy. I never heard that, but I get you. Let's see. A list of disqualifiers, but I'm too mature to change. Well, tell us some of your disqualifiers there, Miles. Apparently, we got some. I don't know where Miss Anita is at. I don't want to bait and switch people, but I don't know where she's at. Assimilation only works for Black people when you use systematically, but we have lost focus. Those communities rich with intellectual resources, creativity, and entrepreneurship. Yeah. Well, I think a lot of it comes down to. I think it comes down to what working together. This is the whole family dynamic. Working together, instilling morals and values. Yes, there's intellectual resourcefulness, but you got to work together. And that's one thing that I think that we're not focusing on as well. Assimilation only works for Black people when they use systemically, but we lost focus. Again, the problem. And I agree with that statement, but I think that the problem is with assimilation is that we have been shut out. There has been a refusal to allow us to assimilate. That was always the issue. Well, that wasn't as much the issue with Asians or the Indian Asians. That wasn't or even the natives of this land. They took their kids and said, "You're gonna assimilate." They didn't do that with us. Every time we tried to get a job, build a community, start a bank, it was undermined. Think about the MLB, Major League Baseball. Black people had their own teams. Of course, we're smaller, and white folks weren't going there to see the games. Well, we had our own teams. We had our own race car companies, racing cars teams. We were not allowed to assimilate. They didn't want us going to school with them. And that wasn't really the issue, but the issue bigger was that we didn't have the financial resources to build better schools. It's the same thing today. That's why I would be a proponent of not having, tax dollars or housing dollars pay for schools. We got to figure out a better way to do that. But that's what causes the inequality in education. educational outcomes and all that. Those communities are richer, and that's it. All right. I think there's a bigger issue here. People have more access to information, a variety of folks' opinions than never before in history. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. However, the skill set of how to digest information, develop your own ideas from the information that we're taking hasn't kept up. Where do you think that the psychology comes in with that? And I get that. We have access to information. We have access to we have probably in more modern times more access to loans, grants, business loans. Thanks to the work that has been done throughout history, we can buy homes in new communities and all that. But we have been stunted by our psychological problems that were fostered on us. So that's why, to me, giving us a check for reparations isn't going to solve the problem of our psychology. And that's whether it's working together, um, building strong families, seeing each other as equals, uh, all that kind of stuff. We got to, there's a lot that has to be conquered. And, again, access to information is great. We can have the information. But man, do we know how to use it? Do we know how to work together? Do we know how to actually be on each other's side? That is a serious question that I don't know if we're really ready to have the answer to. It's going to take a lot of work. It's going to take a lot of work. Dependent children, no fitness programs, fake body parts. There's more. Yeah, well, I got you. Yeah, 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 yeah. That's the issue. That's the issue. That's why I said. That's why I said about the the psychological damage that was done to African Americans throughout the years is still here with us in 2025. You know, being shut out from all these different things. You look at the formation of gangs, particularly in the LA gangs. Those LA gangs started for two reasons. LA gangs started for two reasons. Number one reason was because there was, all the black people who had left the South. They didn't just go to the North and to the Midwest. They also went to the West. So they went to LA, got factory jobs, and they were able to kind of move their kids up and move in better neighborhoods in this, or at least with neighborhoods that they went into. And they wanted their kids to become positive and again to assimilate. And they try to put their kids in Boy Scouts and Cub Scouts, things like that. And they said, no, you can't join. So the kids are left on their own. The second reason is now you got these kids who aren't doing anything after school or whatever. And then next thing you know is that the neighborhood's getting bullied and burned down. That just like they weren't wanted in the South or in the North and the Midwest and all that kind of stuff. They weren't wanted there in the West either. So the other neighborhood kids would come in, throw rocks at the window. So they wanted to protect their neighborhoods. That's how you get the formation of gangs. That's it right there. That's it right there. So it was the trying to assimilate is the problem. So now you get this idea, and this psychology is now passed on throughout the years, and now we're in 2025 still dealing with a gang issue when a gang issue didn't have to come out, didn't have to be there if they just would allow us to assimilate. Is my point. That is the trick. Our black schools were always good, but desegregation made us think that their resources were better. Well, some of them were better. I mean, schools were hot. They didn't have fans. They didn't have enough seats. The lights didn't work. They were infested with vermin. But there were issues with those schools. I mean, but the problem was they didn't have the monetary sources to fix them. But the other schools did. That's why they wanted to integrate. It wasn't just about sitting next to a quote unquote white kid in school. That wasn't the issue. The issue was that they had better resources. The books are better, newer. They got, you got a class for the 25 kids, black schools maybe got, 10 books. They all got to share it, all this other kind of stuff. Right. And all that was done intentionally. All that was done intentionally because they wanted, black folks to be, y'all don't need this education. You just grow up and become janitors or become maids work in the fields and all that. And then, you go to school, white kids go to school for whatever it was, 180 days. But you all go to school for 100 days, and the other days you guys get out and the kids go out, send your boys out into the field and all that. That was the issue. That was the issue. And these movements, blue pill, red pill, pink pill, are spreading so much faster because people are learning about them so much quicker. Yeah, I think that there's a lot of there's a lot of memes going on. People are looking to join on to new things, and hook on to all that. So yeah. So all right. Well, I apologize. I don't know where Miss Anita is. So that's why rebuilding the community should be more self-reliant and less government funded. Having Black teachers as role models is better than their resources. Yeah, there's a good book about this. Well, not about rebuilding the community, but just about the financial stuff that we need. It was written by Dr. I want to say his name is Derek Ball. Derek Ball, Ball, I think Ball. What's the name of his book? I think that's his name. No, that's not it. What's his name here? The name of the book is The Myth and Propaganda of Black Buying Power, Media, Race, and Economics. Jared A. Ball, Dr. Jared A. Ball. He also has a YouTube channel, Dr. Ball. It's like a radio show. The Myth and Propaganda of the Black Male Buying Power. Let me put this on the screen here. So he talks about this in the financial power that Black people have. Now he's a communication. He's got a PhD in communication. So he wrote a book about economics, and he had a lot of people kind of crushing him about it. You're a communications guy. Why would you write this book? But he says, quite honestly, well, tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. And he supposedly ran it by. It's a good read. I read it, so it's a good read. But we need, it's going to take more. I'm saying that to say we're going to need more than just our own buying power. We need, unfortunately, 13% of the population. We still need an infusion of finances, and that's why I say that we're owed something. We're owed something, so we still kind of need that. All right, so I could have one more video to play. I want to get you guys' opinion about this, and if Miss Anita's not here, we'll call it for the day. But I do appreciate you guys. I really do appreciate you guys showing up. Make sure that you hit the like button. Okay, we'll take this down, remove this. Let's see. In an effort to try and fix the issues we have to look to the culture and history. Well, absolutely. Too many of us have appropriated and normalized parts of a culture that keeps us from progressing. 100%. Told the story about the lady on the panel. It was a great video that BGS did, and it showed how we do exactly what you're saying, appropriate this culture of ratchetness, of disrespect for our boys, and wonder why they grow up to be inadequate or not the type of masculine men that we want. So crazy. All that money we spend, if we took it back to the community, it would have hurt some cap. Well, that's the point. That's an excellent point, HJ. if we're buying, you can't fix we can't fix the community. Fixing the community would probably devastate the U.S. economy. Now, I'm no economist. I'm not an economist. I'm just guessing. If we stop buying the hair, the makeup, the nails, trying to always get the most impressive car, all the stuff that we do, if we took that money and really invested it in our community, i.e. in our schools, supporting our other Black businesses would devastate the economy. Devastated. The BBLs. Exactly. That's why we need to go our own way. Yeah. Black consciousness is the key to the evolution of our community. The average Black adult is uneducated on the damage of slavery. I am teaching my grandson concerning our Black and Puerto Rican heritage. Absolutely. There's a book that I've been meaning to read about Puerto Rican history. Oh, The War Against All Puerto Ricans. That's the name of the book by Nelson Dennison. So it's a book that's on my list to read. And there's another one called, I just read it, audiobooked it. It's called, what's the name of this book I just read? What's the name of this book? Your books. What's the name of this book I just read? This book here, Defectors by Paola, The Rise of the Latino for the Far Right. So she's talking about, this is before Trump got elected. She released it in like September, October, something like that. And it was right before Trump got elected. And she's talking about, why so many Latinos are going to vote for Trump. And sure enough, they did. And, again, she released it. When is the release date on here? Book details. I don't know. It's released September. If you guys can see it, release date September 24, 2024. And then November, she's absolutely right. They all voted for this dude. So it's crazy. And she is Cuban and Irish or something like that. So it's a good book. And she talks about Puerto Ricans, and she talks about Dominicans, and a good chapter about Dominicans not wanting to claim themselves as being Black. So crazy book. Defectors. All right. So last video. This one's we'll talk about this one a little bit, and then we'll call it for today. Now here, this was sent to me by someone I think last night, and I want to get you guys' opinion. Here is a red pill guy in effect. Red pill in effect. Hit the like button.
Don't find you attractive.
They still date toxic dudes though.
Sure, but those toxic dudes tend to be attractive.
Is it still toxic when they get left as a single mother?
Why are you worrying about that? What the fuck does that have to do with you?
Nothing.
So what's funny about that?
It's just laughable how it all plays out.
It's laughable that the women don't pay no attention, but they end up as single mothers.
Yes, they deserve it. They should have chose a guy like me.
They should have chose little Michael, that he's a good person. Now you feel good that women are left unfortunate. What about the girls who didn't choose you and ended up well? What about those girls?
I wish the worst for them eventually.
See, this is called anger and sadness. When's the last time you had sex, bro?
I paid for it just like 2 weeks ago. I paid for it.
If you hate women so much, if you're so angry at women, why do you give them money to sleep with you?
For my pleasure.
But isn't your hard work and resources valuable to you? Why do you give them your hard-earned money?
For my pleasure.
So that means that your money doesn't mean shit and that women are better than you. They are actually correct for not picking you.
They're not correct.
They are, because you still give them money to fuck. So they are correct.
All right, but the toxic guys,
Forget the toxic guys, Michael. The toxic guys are getting pussy for free. You're not. You're paying to sleep with women.
Right?
If you feel like women are beneath you, why do you give them money?
Because that's the only way to get women. I mean, that's not
right. Yeah. That's the only way you can get women. So the women are still above you. They're still better than you, even though you don't like them, even though you're angry at them.
You might got a point there. They rather date men from the street that be dipping out before dating me.
That's not true. They just don't find you attractive.
They still date toxic dudes though.
Sure, but those toxic dudes tend to be attractive.
Is it still toxic when they get left as a single mother?
Why are you worrying about that? What the fuck does that have to do with you?
Nothing.
So what's funny about that?
It's just laughable how it all plays out.
It's laughable that the women don't pay no attention, but they end up as single mothers.
Yes, they deserve it. They should have chose a guy like me.
They should have chose little Michael, that he's a good person. Now you feel good that women are left unfortunate. What about the girls who didn't choose you and ended up well? What about those girls?
I wish the worst for them eventually.
See, this is...
So this guy obviously has some issues, right? He's wishing the worst for girls who don't have it, who are overlooking him, and this is the frustration that he's dealing with, right? He thinks he's a good dude, and he thinks he should be selected, and he's looking at the women. Well, you're toxic. You're choosing toxic dudes. I wish you the worst. You should have picked a guy like me. Never taking an inward look at himself and what he could do and should do in order to step his game up. Now, I don't. It looks like to me he could be sitting in the cab of a truck. I don't know where he's at. I don't know, but he could. He's. I don't know what his job is or anything like that, or how edited this would be. But if we just take it on face value on the presentation that was given here, this guy's got a lot of work to do. He's got to work on his self-esteem, got to work on his presentation, work on his game, being able to communicate, hit the gym, fill out that shirt with some muscles. There's some things you got to do in order to become attractive. And so again, if you're just beating up on these people, and this is why a lot of ladies are very skeptical about these different pills, the red pill space and the black pill space, and say, see, this is what all you guys are about. And we gotta reject these kind of dude. We gotta not reject them, but we got to try to bring these dudes along and saying, okay, it's not the women's fault, man. You got to look at yourself and become the best version of yourself and become something that the ladies would want, whether it's financially and physical presentation and knowing how to at least have a conversation with a lady, right? Making sure your hair is cut fresh, put the hat on your head or off. Pick a struggle there, right? Iron your shirt, hit the gym. So those are all things that that a guy like this, is making the whole space look bad. And he's in a place and in a mentality that everything else is somebody else's fault. We're never taking a look at himself and to seeing what he could do and should do to improve. Instead of getting on shows, making call-in shows to talk about and to downgrade women, how about you take some time to read an audiobook, to listen to an audiobook, or to read a book, to get an educational podcast, and to hit the gym. And I guarantee you that his life would turn around drastically if he understood a little bit more about looking at inwardly instead of outwardly and trying to assess the situation. So y'all hit the like button. 17 likes now. I appreciate that. Yeah, he needs a positive male mentor. Absolutely. He's the type that would probably paying for dates with no assurance of getting. Yeah, well, probably. We got to raise better men. And I do think that in that respect, when the lady said the red pill space has done a lot of damage, if you're listening to people like this and saying that, and if you're listening to dudes like this and saying that this is encompassing the entirety of the space, then that is problematic. And so he definitely needs a male mentor and somebody who's going to take him under his wing and say, listen, man, this ain't it. This ain't it. So he seems sweet. He's possibly attempting to date the modern type of young ladies. Well, he just needs some work. He's got to build up his confidence, right? If you're blaming people saying that they're toxic and you're having conversation, and this is I agree with a lot of this, that the infiltration of negativity can poison your mind. And if he's listening to red pill content, rage content, seeing this type of stuff and then repeating this, well, they're toxic because they're dating these toxic dudes. No one is giving me a chance. Well, what are you doing? What are you presenting to make these ladies want to choose you, period, or choose you over these other type of men who are attractive? And if you think that it's their fault, brother, he's got a lot of mental work to do. He's got a lot of mental work to do. And part of that mental work is going to be shutting off negative influences, period. Shutting off everything that's external and just really taking a look at yourself. What do you think about yourself? What do you think about your height, your weight, your hygiene, your education, your ability to have a conversation with a woman without taking it sexual? What is it about you that would make a woman want to be on your shoulder? That's what you got to answer. And stop looking at other people. No, he probably didn't. He seems sweet. Let's see. Yeah. Yeah, he's sweet. All right. Well, I don't know about that. All right. Well, listen, we've been on for an hour and 40 minutes. I certainly apologize. I hope that Auntie Anita is okay. I did call her. It went straight to voicemail, and I texted her a couple of times and all that. So, but I do appreciate you all showing up, and hopefully we got an understanding of the red pill, further understanding of the red pill, and look, had a couple of laughs at some videos. I certainly always, as once again, appreciate you all taking the time out of your busy schedule to check out this. Yeah, some men think that, and if you listen to the red pill community, they'll say that being a woman is good enough as well. I don't got to do anything. I just got to show up and bring my vajayjay, and everything is all good. And nobody thinks they have to have personality. They don't think they need to be funny. They don't think they need to be entertaining. They don't think they need to have anything going on. So it's a problem. It's a problem. I know we've been on for an hour and 40 minutes. where you been, October? Where you been? Yeah, I was looking forward to you harassing me. Thank you for your another great live. Well, I appreciate that. Appreciate that. Thank you so much, Gail. Thank you all. So that's it. I was going to try to do a show on Wednesday. There's no show tomorrow because football. So I'm going to try to do a show Wednesday about the blue pill men, why they stay in that blue pill space, and how come they haven't woken up and all that kind of stuff. Might be a little bit negative. So yeah. Women are for some, and that's okay. Yeah, absolutely. All right, y'all. I will see you guys. Take care of yourselves. Much love and peace. Thank you so much. Make sure you hit the like button if you have not done that. Oh, and let me also say, you guys can also always buy me lunch. You guys can always buy me lunch. I would appreciate that. Let's see. Sometimes you do. It's in a cute way, though. It's all good. It's all good. It's all good. Listen, I love all of y'all, man. I love all of y'all. Let's see. How many pills are there? Jeez. Black that I know of: black, red, blue, pink, and I've heard of a white pill, but I don't know what that. I haven't explored that at all. I heard that term and I was like, this is too much, because it's all in response. It's all in response to each other, trying to one up each other. So I don't take all that. So I would say at least 4. And we're still trying to iron out exactly what the pink pill is, whether it's working on your femininity or whether it's being a femcel, which is you can't get any male attention. That's still up in the air. So yeah. Can we focus on old age group? Can we focus on old age group topics next time? What old age group topics? I got a video dropping Monday about being an empty nester. That's dropping Monday, I think. Yeah, Monday, about being an empty nester. Yeah. So it's blue, black. Blue again is looking at the world and saying, I still want to abide in this world. Again, as a man, women are sugar spice and everything nice. There's nothing wrong with them. All you men are lazy, dusty. You can't get can't get women. And that's why you're having the problems that you are. The red pill, again, for men is saying this is female nature, and either you're going to adopt to it, well, maybe the purple pill too. You're going to adapt to it, and then kind of move in the way that you will, or you become going your own way. There's men going their own way. Save yourself, black man. Becoming a passport bro. Those are all offshoots of the red pill, because you're looking at not just women. Well, women as far as a species, yes, but in particular, modern Western women. That's what the most of the issue is modern Western women. So it's blue, black, and the black pill is just saying this is the world that it is. This is the way that the world is. Nothing I can do about it, and just keep moving through it and focus on other things. So 40 plus. I've seen 5 pills. So all right, what are the 5 pills, Rhonda? Those are the pills that I've seen. Those are the pills that I've seen. So so it would be blue, black, purple, pink, and I've heard of white. Maybe that's so there's 5. I don't know anything about the white pill. I haven't explored it at all. Men can be complacent for decades. Women have been trained to be pleasing men. I used to struggle with that. I think there's some truth to that. That men came home, and it's obviously not all men, and I don't. But here's the thing: when we're talking about, in particular, black men. I don't think that was the case. Black men had to work. Black women had to work. We had issues going on, and we learned to do it together. And black men have done a lot of emotional labor. I've done a lot of emotional labor. We got to, our women work. We got to come home and listen to them, and help out with the kids. I helped out with my kids, changing diapers and all that kind of stuff. So I think that all men are trying to do something. Why would you put yourself in a group? Independent critical thinking experience. Yeah, well, absolutely. That's a Sigma male. Miles, you're definitely a Sigma male. I try not to put myself in any group of anything. Don't group me in with anything. So yeah. Your men complain about the women as well. Oh, where do you think all this came from? It all came from them. Red, blue, black, purple, pink. Red, blue, black, purple, pink. Okay, the white one I heard would probably be 6. Red, blue, black, purple, pink. Yeah. So yeah. Yeah. The purple is the combination of the red pill. I know the nature in particular of modern Western women, and I'm choosing to do it anyway. I'm going to navigate the scene anyway. So that would be that. That would be the purple pill. Because I want a woman. I want a wife. I'm gonna engage, even though the red pill space would say maybe it's not best to marry. That the red pill space does say that it's best not to marry for the financial reasons. But a purple pill guy would say, I understand the risks, but I want a wife, I want a family, and I'm going to do it anyway. That would be an example of a purple pill guy. Let's see. They are frightening that stats that Britain men commit a large amount of femicide with their women. I haven't seen any of those. So yeah. My twin brother says he's a Sigma male. Shrugs. Yeah. To me, that I would consider we just talked about not putting yourself in in categories and groups and stuff, but I would consider myself a Sigma male. I would consider that. So Sigma, I always meant to do a show about Sigma males, the different type of males, alpha, beta, omegas, sigmas. I think there's another one. So maybe I'll try to get that done this week. That's why I thought because red and blue make purple. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I was a Sigma before it was a defined, but it fits. Yeah. Sigma males just, you're a strong thinker, critical thinker, but you don't need to follow the crowd. That's what it is. I'm an alpha man in presentation, masculine. My word is law. I make things happen. I make moves, but I don't need to run in a pack. So, and I don't need to be a leader, even though I have leadership qualities. I don't need to be a leader. I would definitely fit into that. I think anyway. I identify with a lot of Sigma female traits. Is that the same as men? I don't know. Is that the same as men for that? I don't know. And are men attracted to Sigma traits in women? All right, y'all. Hit the like button on your way out. Thank you so much. You guys are great. And I'll talk to you guys. Much love and peace.